Radically Candid praise is helpful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about being a Little League coach. You know I coach Little League.
I do. I admire that about you.
Thanks. Coaching Little League, you're teaching 9, 10, 11-year-old kids how to do sort of physically complicated processes. And hitting a baseball is an extremely complicated physical process. And the number one thing you need to be able to do to hit a baseball is to keep your head on the ball, to keep your eye on the ball. And when you do that, you actually have to move your shoulders and keep your head still, which is actually quite an unnatural physical act. You should try it right now. That was really well done. And so what we would often do was we'd ask the kids at the end of their swing, we'd ask them to freeze. And we would then point out where their heads were pointed when they were done swinging. Sometimes their heads would be up here. That's not a recipe for success, but often their heads were down here. And when you have them freeze and you point out that they did that physical process correctly, that allows them to sort of gain the muscle memory to know exactly when they did it right. Then they know what it feels like.
And it feels good.
And it feels good. Feels good to get it right. But by knowing what it feels like, they can then repeat the physical process. And I think this idea of knowing what it feels like to do it right doesn't just apply in Little League, I think it also applies in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. I think making it really clear what success feels like is one of the most important things you can do for people. And also bringing, like, I imagine sometimes those kids actually hadn't hit the ball, but they had done a good job keeping their head in the right place. And I think that is really important. There was a time when you and I worked together at Google on the AdSense team when somebody came up with an idea of programmable keypads. And this doesn't sound like a revolutionary idea. Lots of people have used programmable keypads. But using these things was going to save 30% of people's time. So it's going to make the whole team, not just this one person, but the whole team 30% more efficient. And it didn't feel to her like the giant success it was to the whole team. So one of the things that we did when we praised her for coming up with this idea was to put it into context and to explain to her and to the whole team that over the course of the year we were going to save 30 FTEs, but more importantly, everybody was going to have 30% more time to work on the stuff that they wanted to be working on, to grow in their careers. And so now, all of a sudden, not only she, but the whole team appreciated the value of these ideas. And in fact, we sent around an HBR article about the power of a lot of small ideas, that often sustainable competitive advantage comes from thousands of little ideas that everybody has come together to implement. And that can be actually much harder to imitate than just one big idea. So I think now she knew what success felt like and how big it was.
Cool, great example. So Radically Candid praise is helpful. Helping people know what it feels like when they're successful then helps them to repeat the success. Thanks.
Thanks.